Today we will talk about the mistakes and errors in Tajweed. Yani, what are the different types of the mistakes or the errors we do while reciting the Quran? First of all, the mistake in Arabic, it is called lahn. The word for the mistake in Arabic, it is lahn. Lahn is called a mistake that we do during the recitation of the Quran. Let's see in detail. The scholars have divided the types of mistakes one might fall into when reciting the Quran into two types. The scholars of Islam has divided the lahan into two types. There are two types of mistakes that we usually do while reciting the Quran. There are two big types. Why it is important to learn the mistakes? Because if we are not able to recognize our own mistakes in the recitation, we could never improve our recitation. So it's really important to understand the categories or the types of the mistakes so that you can better identify your own mistakes while reciting the Quran and you can remove it from the recitation. First of all, the lahan, yani mistake, has been divided into two types. The one is lahan jali and the one is lahan khafi. Lahan jali and lahan khafi. Lahan jali is called, or you can say lahan jali are the clear mistakes. They are big and clear mistakes. When we talk about the lahan khafi, these are the small but hidden mistakes. So let's talk about in detail that what is lahan jali and how do you recognize the lahan jali in the Quran. There are different types of the lahan jali. They are starting from the number 1 and till number 7, means 7 types of lahan jali. Now see the first type. The first type is changing a letter. If while reciting the Quran we are exchanging the two letters together, we are making a big mistake, and that's very much clear because we are exchanging the two letters. It's easily recognizable. Everybody can recognize if somebody is exchanging the two letters together. So the first type of the lahan jali is exchanging a letter. Second type is adding a letter. While reciting the Quran, if we do not follow the Tajweed rules, sometimes we do not understand the concept of the counts. Some letters have 1 count, some letters are for 2 counts, some letters are for 4 counts, and some letters are for 6 counts. If we do not make the difference, what happens? Usually we do not make the difference between the counts and we add a letter. You can say we accidentally add a letter. Nobody wants to make a manual mistake, right? Because it's a book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we are not supposed to do any mistake while reciting the Quran, but accidentally, unknowingly, we don't know that that's a mistake. We actually add a letter. Inshallah, I'll teach you with the examples that how do you recognize the adding a letter, changing a letter. I mean, how you will recognize these types of mistakes in the Quran. Dropping a letter, same way when we add a letter, we do not make the difference between the counts. Same way, we drop a letter when we do not make the difference between the counts. And then comes the fourth one, changing a haraka. Haraka is called a vowel, right? There are different types of the haraka. As you can see, fatha, dhamma, kasra. Fathatain, kasratain, dhammatain. Standing fatha, standing kasra, inverted dhamma. Or in Urdu we say zabar, zayd, pesh, right? Ulta pesh, khara zabar, khari zayd. There are a lot more signs. So if we are exchanging these signs together, we are making the fourth mistake, that is called changing a haraka. Then comes changing mutaharrik to sukoon. Mutaharrik is called any letter that has a haraka, whether it's with the fatha, whether it's with the kasra, dhamma, or any sign. If a letter is in the Quran is with any sign, with the zabar, zair, pesh, fatha, kasra, dhamma, or any other sign, it is called mutaharrik. And the sukoon means the letter that has the sukoon sign on the top, that looks like that. If you do not make the difference between a mutaharrik letter that has a vowel sign and the sukoon letter that has a sukoon sign, that's a big mistake, because you didn't check the word carefully while reciting. You didn't check there was fatha and you exchange it with the sukoon letter. I will explain you later on in detail how do we do mistakes in the Quran, and especially the mistake number 5. How do we change mutaharrik to sukoon, and the same way we change second letter to mutaharrik. There is a letter with the sukoon sign and we exchange it into mutaharrik letter. Mutaharrik means that has a sign, that has any vowel sign, fatha, kasra, dhamma, inverted dhamma, standing fatha, any type of sign. And then comes the 7th one, adding or dropping a shadda. This is the shadda sign in the Quran, right? And this is the most important sign in the Quran. Usually students make mistake when they do not consider this sign, or they do not know the purpose of the sign, or they know the purpose of the sign but they accidentally do not follow it properly. So adding or dropping a shadda, nobody wants to add a shadda manually in the Quran. Like, I don't want to manually add the shadda in the Quran. Astaghfirullah, that's a sin, right? But accidentally, unknowingly, we do not know. We do not have the knowledge of Tajweed. We do not seek the knowledge of Tajweed, and then we usually make the mistake of adding or dropping a shadda. When we do not pronounce a letter that has a shadda sign, when we do not pronounce a letter that has a shadda sign properly, then we make this mistake, adding or dropping a shadda. This looks a little bit technical, but later on you will understand, and you will find yourself that how many kinds of mistakes am I making in recitation. So let me explain it to you again. Lahan is called the mistake. Jali are the clear and the big mistakes, right?